Most sawyers cut their logs all wrong, wasting time, money, and good lumber. So in this video, I'm going to show you 3 ways you can make more money with your sawmill by making just a few simple changes to the way you cut your logs. Let's start with the biggest mistake most people make when cutting logs. Imagine if I asked you to build a house without a blueprint. Unless you have years of experience in construction, you're probably going to end up with an unstable house that's ready to fall at any time. Just like a builder wouldn't start hammering nails without knowing where the walls go, a sawyer shouldn't drop the blade until they've mapped out the cuts. Every pass should serve a purpose, not just to make sawdust. Similarly, you need a plan to mill every log. This will help you avoid insufficient log handling, excessive waste of wood, and your precious time. But how do you cut a log efficiently? We'll get to that in just a second. Before we go on to that technique, I want to invite you to sign up to our newsletter to receive tips, tricks, and hacks to help your sawmill get to the next level. Let's get on to that question. How do you cut a log efficiently? We're going to step to the end of this log, and I'm going to try to explain how I look at this log and plan my technique before I even put the blade in this log. I'm cutting 2x4s. So my initial thought is how many 4-inch cants I can get out of this log. On this specific log, by cutting 2 inches on all 4 sides allows me to get 3 even 4-inch cants. This line right here was a boo-boo. There shouldn't be 2 lines there. Disregard that. I'm not a very good artist. Once I get those cants, I'll flip them on edge and then continue to make my 2-inch thick with these hash marks. That will be my passes, getting 3 2x4s per pass once I get to that point. This log right here, when I was bulk cutting these 2x4s, is a perfect example of efficient log handling. I flipped this log 3 times after that first pass. I made the first flattening cut here, and then this was the second cut, flattening cut. This one was to get on scale to cut these 3 cants right here at 4 inches wide. Then I flipped one more time to get up here. Notice I didn't cut this scab off and try to make this a perfectly square cant before I started getting my 2x4s. The reason is that is an extra flip, that is an extra scab you have to haul, and you were trying to cut these edges off anyway to get the thing clean. So why not just cut your cants on scale at 4 inches or whatever lumber you're getting, and then set scale to start cutting here. These pieces were going to be thrown away anyway. Here's one. This 2x4 is not a 2x4. Trash. This one, scab trash, smaller, easy to handle, and got that off with less waste. And of course, your center one, we just took a little off. You can see it's thin down there, and we saved the good 2x4. This 2x4 has a very, try to get it out of here, has very little wane on that end. That is a good board. That is a very good way to handle your logs and cut way more efficiently, saving you time and energy. Another technique in handling your log efficiently is by cutting the worst side off of your log first. By doing this, it allows you to have a more stable cant or a more stable log sooner. That uneven side on your log stops. When you're trying to secure that log tight, it might want to rock on you. It might not want to secure just right against your log stops. If you have it down first, it'll be unstable on the log bed. So my technique is to put that worst side up, cut that off of there, and then move on and not have to deal with that side any longer. Just remember, when planning your technique to cut the log on your mill, think in patterns, not passes. If you're guessing as you go, you already behind. Now that we know how to plan your cuts to minimize waste, save time, and boost your revenue, we need to look into 2 different milling aspects that every sawmill owner should know. These 2 different milling types can be very different in technique due to the difference in time and precision between the 2. Bulk milling versus custom cuts. Cutting for a bulk order versus custom milling changes everything. Bulk means speed and consistency, while custom orders, well, it means precision. For instance, you see these logs that I have here? They're into rough cut lengths of 12.5 feet. My plans with these logs are to mill 1x8s for V-groove stock. These will be milled as fast and efficiently as I possibly can, so I can get them drying to continue the process to a finished product with further refining needed. Now let's compare that to an order where someone needs exposed post or beam that they ordered for a house that they're spending their hard-earned money on. Now, they called you and put their trust in you to get the job done that they need. This is where the precision and extra time come in. Most of these jobs are from much higher value trees than, say, your standard yellow pine as I have here. You will need to make sure your every cut hits the mark. Let me show you a couple steps to assume the highest quality and, more importantly, not make the wrong cut. One thing you can do to ensure that you do not make the wrong cut on that custom order starts back here at the controls. Have a notepad to write down an itemized list of what you're cutting so that that list is visible at all times. Because if you're like me, you have so many things going on in your mind at any given point, you can forget. This sounds simple, right? But it's an easy but important step. This helps you keep track of your list precisely. As you finish each item, mark it off. Secondly, we all know that you cannot add wood. So instead of going directly to your finished measurement, be sure to leave you just a little wiggle room. I usually like to allow a 1/2 inch or even 1 inch on some occasions. As we all know, while we're cutting, we are releasing tension on that log, raising the probability of a little movement on your cant. By giving yourself that little extra to trim off, in the case that this happens, you can take smaller passes to correct any imperfection from movement on that finished piece. These custom jobs take more time, so be sure to charge for these services. Remember, they cannot go to the store and get these orders off of the shelf. Do not undervalue your services. So the key takeaway from these points is bulk cutting is a repeatable cutting pattern that we need to accomplish as fast and as efficiently as humanly possible. Individual custom jobs take extra time. Precision is key, and you need to be sure to make the most perfect job that anyone has ever seen. Because most of the time, these cuts cannot be purchased at any box store or local hardware store. That's why they contacted you with a sawmill to get the job done. Now that we discussed a little bit on bulk cutting, let's dig just a little bit deeper and see if it's profitable to cut smaller, say 1x4 versus a 2x4. Of course, a 1x4 or any 1x for that matter takes more time to cut than a 2x. But is it worth the time? Consider the yield of the log you just paid for. You want to get as much usable wood out of that log that you possibly can. Those smaller boards will help you do just that. Whether you're cutting an entire log into 1x or milling flitches down, you will increase your yield, therefore increasing profits and decreasing waste. Goal accomplished. Now, let's take a quick look at your cost basis of a 1x4x12 versus a 2x4x12. At my local box store, a 1x4x12 in Southern Yellow Pine is currently around the $12.50 mark. Whereas a 2x4x12 is around $5.50. That's over double the price for nearly 30% less board foot per board. I never considered why this could be until I became a sawyer. It just takes more time and resources, such as fuel and blades, to produce a 1x4 than it does other larger lumber. And you have to charge for it. If you can beat those box store prices by a noticeable amount, you can acquire more yield out of the log you just paid for. You have less waste and you can boost your revenue. So don't overlook them when you're building your inventory or pulling those flitches off those larger cuts. They can be sold as is as a 1x4 or be milled down into shiplap or V-groove or any finished product like that. These small boards do have options that'll make you more money. Cutting smaller boards gives you more sellable yield and less waste. But if you have to spend double the time cutting them, did you really make more? That's a question you have to weigh out against the market in your area. Because the most profitable cut is the one that balances time, yield, and demand. At the end of the day, every log is a puzzle. The better you plan, the more money you make. The more yield you have out of your logs, and of course, the less you waste. If this video helped you, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe for more sawmill tips that grow your skills and your profits. And if you want deeper insights, jump on my email list. The link is in the description below. We're helping sawyers run smarter mills every week.